Hello, good afternoon, and welcome to the Midday News. This bulletin is coming to you live from the Joy 99.7 FM studios in Kokomlim Lane, Accra. Our digital address GA0993341. Also live on Love 99.5 FM in Kumasi. Affiliates across the country, including Radio Max in Takrady, A1 Radio in Bolgatanga, and Kekeli Radio in Ho. It's on ABN Radio in London and around the world at myjoyonline.com. The news is brought to you by UMB Bank, UMB Speed Up, Digibank, Let's Go, Super Sim Cement, Build Your Dream, and Telesol 4G. Just a touch. In this edition, NADMO reviews 12 children dead through floods in the Ashanti region alone over the last 1 month as meteorological agency predicts more rains in the coming days.
1.5 months or so have lost almost 12 children who are below 10 years. So it's a matter of worry. It's very, very sad. So something must be done.
Meanwhile, former Deputy Works and Housing Minister Samson Ahi says government must largely be blamed for the havoc caused by the floods.
Government has refused to do the right thing, and that is why we are seeing all this flooding immediately after it rains.
Also in this edition, fighting terror, government says collaboration with security agencies in neighboring countries should ensure safer borders as Joy News series shines light on the struggles of Ghana's immigration service at the borders.
His Excellency the President, in view of the happenings in the neighboring countries, is working hard to make sure that we protect our borders to prevent terrorists from moving into our country.
We'll hear from Interior Minister who has praised the work of Joy News to highlight threats along Ghana's borders, remunerate heads of state-owned enterprises based on their competence and respective contributions to economic development.
The CEOs who are paid so much, they have to be remunerated based on their competence. And I hope that the mandate of SIDA, which was launched a few months ago, I'm hoping they will turn things around.
We have more on this controversial proposal coming from economic think tank, ISE. In sports.
After his first day in office as the Ghana Football Association President, Keto Kruku says he has a fair idea of the challenges facing Ghana football.
And later in the bulletin, publicity stunt or real friction. Uber driver hitmaker Wendy Shea speaks about relationship with label mate Fantana after Tess Instagram message. All that and more here on the Midday News with me, Emefa Apau. And in our very first story for this afternoon, 12 children in the Ashanti region have died over the last 1 month alone through flooding as a result of torrential rains. That's according to the National Disaster Management Organization, NADMO. Now, it follows reports of havoc wreaked by the heavy rains across the country that have seen thousands displaced and property destroyed. More from NADMO shortly, but first, here is a News Desk report.
The rains and its attendant effects are coming at a time weather watchers and climate experts have described as unusual times, and the destruction it has left in its wake is unquantifiable. In parts of the Upper East region, which have been severely affected, hundreds of people remain without food and shelter.
We nearly lost our lives. All our rooms get broken. All our foodstuffs are spoiled. We don't even know what to eat.
Over 1,000 residents of Isubone Rails in the Kwewu West municipality of the Eastern region were also displaced following heavy rains. In a breed where there have been mudslides in just weeks, scientists have pointed to rainfall as a contributing factor. In the Greater Accra region, areas such as Ashorman, Botiano, Adenta were affected by Monday afternoon's downpour. The most affected, perhaps, from multiple accounts, was the Accra-Tema motorway.
If you are trying to use the motorway either from Accra or Tema, just don't. It's so flooded. Cars can't go. Every driver is scared to cross.
In many parts of the Ashanti regional capital, Kumasi, residents in areas including Adeja, Buokrom, and Anglonga Junction were stranded after yesterday's torrential rains. Our properties are always destroyed. It's been like this for years. We need help.
This place always gets flooded. We have to wait for the water to subside.
We are stranded. We haven't moved an inch. We have been here for several hours.
At the St. Paul's Preparatory School at Moshi Zongo, classrooms were submerged and some roads cut off.
We have workers that can come and clean it. So there will be no school today. School, but classroom I do also see. So they will go the top there. But I had I enter.
A 6-year-old was swept away by the raging floodwaters. Here, is father of a twin girl.
She was returning from school when the running water swept her into a drain. She died after hitting her head on the edge of the drain.
While a family grieves over their loss and others look to build their homes and properties again, there are fears more rains would complicate an already dire flooding situation in the country.
That was the News Desk report. Now let's go on the line and speak to Love FM's Erastus Asari Donko for updates on the flooding that occurred in Kumasi yesterday and what NADMO has been saying. Before we talk about that though, just a month, 12 children dead. What has NADMO and the officials have been saying about this especially?
Well, they want to put in measures according to the regional NADMO boss. They want to engage children in the various schools in swimming lessons. They also want them to remove or demolish school buildings that are in wetlands, as well as buildings that are blocking the free flow of water within the region.
1.5 months or so have lost almost 12 children who are below 10 years. So it's a matter of worry.
Give me the assessment. Is it in Ashanti region over which period?
Yeah, it's in Ashanti region. And the last one occurred last night. We had 2 on Saturday when it rained, and I had 1 on Sunday. So you can see that it's continuously.
So how many?
12. If I'm to add the one that happened yesterday, it's 12. So.
And they are all children?
They are all children below 10 years.
How did they die?
They were swept by the flood.
Which areas are we talking about?
Abuakwa, for instance, Abokumaji areas, and other areas too. We had one Sunday afternoon. It's very, very sad. So something must be done.
Now, Erastus, we understand that last night also we saw what happened in Accra. But what was the situation in Kumasi?
So we had heavy rains lasting for about an hour, and many roads were blocked at certain points. And in areas like Adeja, the Lake Road, Putuja, where construction has stalled for some time, the vehicles could not move. And areas where they had broken bridges as well, it was difficult to cross to the other side. Many homes have been inundated with water, and people are seen scooping water from their rooms at the moment.
You heard my colleague Erastus Asari Donko on the situation in the Ashanti region. Well, the meteorological agencies, however, predicting more rains in the coming days. Felicity Ahafianyo is head of the Central Analysis and Forecast Office of the Ghana Meteo Agency.
What the chart predicted yesterday when we met as the whole forecasters concluded that the week over the southern sector will still be active in terms of rain activities. We are anticipating scattered to widespread between yesterday and then today. Then Wednesday to Thursday, we anticipated scattered over the coastal and the middle sector with isolated over the northern sector. For the weekend, we start with Friday to Sunday. We are also anticipating scattered cases of rain.
You heard Felicity Ahafianyo. She's head of the Central Analysis and Forecast Office of the Ghana Meteo Agency. My colleague Justice Bedu is at the meteorological offices as we speak. You know, most of the time the weather forecast is mostly not taken seriously when the schedule is released. You've been interacting with them on the impacts or the negative impact of these rains. What exactly have they been telling you?
So first of all, on the issue of people not taking the forecast seriously, he spoke about it with regret and said that they put in a lot of work and examine a lot of data from all around the world to be able to predict that. And so their prediction is almost always accurate in recent times, and I expect that people take them seriously. And also, on the specific issue of the increased levels of rains, he and all the people that have been interacting here today tell me that there's nothing unusual that is happening. What they insist is that the high levels of rains that we are seeing now is making up for what was expected in the major rainy season, which was supposed to be in June and then July. And so, as we speak, according to the data they have, we have more rains almost twice as what we did have in October 2018. But then they are saying that nothing unusual is happening and expect that actually there would be more of these rains. What they are saying is that it is actually the activities of people, what they would describe as negative activities, poor drainage system.
You heard there my colleague Justice Beidou reporting from the Ghana Meteorological Agency. Meanwhile, former Deputy Works and Housing Minister Samson Ahi says government must take a huge chunk of the blame for the havoc caused by the floods yesterday. He wants Parliament to summon both the Finance and Works and Housing Ministers to brief the House on their preparations going forward following the Meteo Agency's prediction of more rains.
We all know that we have no control over the rains that we have been warned that it will come, because that is nature. But we have control over how to direct the flow of the rains. But government has refused to do the right thing. And that is why we are seeing all this flooding immediately after it rains. And so I think we should blame the government to some extent, because they are not helping the Ministry of Works and Housing to do what they are supposed to do. And that's a fact. They have not released their funding, their budget allocation to them. And so they cannot do anything. So the gutters have not been desilted or drainage system are choked. That is why we are experiencing what we saw yesterday after the rains.
Former Deputy Works and Housing Minister Samson Ahi. Now, away from that, the coalition of non-governmental organizations against child trafficking is pointing to political, community interferences and delayed prosecutions as some of the impediments of the fight against the enslavement of children. Speaking to Joy News on the sidelines of a media engagement on the menace, Executive Director of International Needs, Cromwell Awade, said continuous calls from people with influence on freeing perpetrators are derailing the efforts by civil society organizations and law enforcement agencies.
Child trafficking in Ghana is largely supply driven. So people take advantage of young children and then take advantage of families due to their poverty and vulnerability. And those of us working in this space, we have worked hard and then we do rescue some of these children. But when you rescue, the next phase is prosecution. And we face the biggest challenge there. We do get interference from political figures, calls to all kinds of people, and the whole case just becomes a foolish case. The complainants, sometimes because of social pressure that is brought to bear on them, develop cold feet over time. And because the process is also cumbersome, the prosecution process is cumbersome, all pulled together makes it very difficult to prosecute.
You heard there, Cromwell Awade, Executive Director of International Needs. Now, the Executive Secretary and Spokesperson for the National Coalition for Proper Human Sexual Rights and Family Values, Moses Fuamweni, is calling on political parties to expressly include anti-homosexuality ethics in their manifestos next year. This is the second time that they're making this call. But speaking on the sidelines of the same event, Deputy Attorney General Godfred Yeboah-Dame dismissed claims of an LGBTQ threat in Ghana.
The Constitution and the laws of Ghana must be construed in a way as to reflect the nature and the aspiration of the Ghanaian. Indeed, all constitutional law experts will tell you that every constitution reflects the will of the people, reflects the aspirations, and indeed mirror what the people are. And it is not for nothing that the laws of Ghana actually criminalize homosexuality, in my respectful view. So it is criminal, and I take the view that that provision cannot under any circumstance be deemed unconstitutional, because as I indicated, the laws of discrimination, the laws of human rights and what have you set out in the Constitution must mirror the people, must reflect the aspirations of the Ghanaian. And contrary, Ghanaians are in their nature opposed to any form of homosexuality. The President himself has made that position quite clear, and I'm very happy to say that the leader president.
You heard that the Deputy Attorney General Godfred Yeboah Dame. Now, wherever you live in Ghana, your life is at risk if the country's borders are unsafe. For years, there's been concern about the possibility of the activities of terror groups in neighboring countries spilling into Ghana through the many unapproved routes. In a recent Joy News series dubbed Porous Borders, our reporters came to face with smugglers, some of whom used various unapproved routes with impunity. Head of Joy News' political desk, or no, security desk, Gifty Andrapia, presented a copy of the project to Interior Minister Ambrose Derry, who says Ghana's security collaboration with its neighboring countries should be the safety of every citizen.
The transhumance challenge, which existed before he came in, about the Fulani herdsmen coming in, is a multi-sectoral problem that has been worked out to the extent that kraals have been established to try and keep them and to try and monitor them. But putting it in context of the entire border security, His Excellency the President, in view of the happenings in the neighboring countries, is working hard to make sure that we protect our borders to prevent terrorists from moving into our country. And that is why he started with Operation Conquest Fist, which is a combined security operation of army, police, immigration, and other intelligence agencies, collaborating with the countries like Cote d'Ivoire, Burkina, and Togo, to make sure that we work to get together. So this document that you have brought is going to help us enhance our effort, and indeed, I can assure you that in due course, you would see that the President would lead a program that will make good the concerns that you have brought. But for now, let me acknowledge your contribution and to reiterate that security is a collective responsibility. And when we see the media working in such a responsible manner, to come to the agencies to see how we can work together to make sure that Ghana is secure. Now with the immigration, we are fortifying the security, and I can assure each and every Ghanaian that Ghana is secure and will only get more secure. And I also want to celebrate the individual Ghanaian citizens, epitomized by the activity of the Ghanaian citizen in the church, Catholic Church in Hamley, who gave information that led to the arrest of the Burkinabe.
Interior Minister Ambrose Derry. Now, Gifty Andrapia joins me in studio. I'm adding another responsibility to you, but you're the head of security there. So you met the Interior Minister yesterday. But before we talk about that, though, the discoveries at the borders, as highlighted in the Joy News documentary, were pretty scary, weren't they?
Where they were, MFI. If you talk about the Upper West, for example, we found that only 2 out of 100 communities that are sharing borders with Burkina Faso and Ivory Coast have a border post. So if you take 100 of these communities, there's only 2 of them that has a border post, which means that there are several illegal entries there. In the Upper East, we found that there were unclear border demarcations, and then Ghanaians, Togolese, and Burkinabes have been having issues over who owns which part of the country, of that part. Even though there is no man's land, there's always an issue, and the people there were concerned it's going to blow up into a conflict there somehow if it's not taken into consideration. There were several other things that we found. We found that there was armed robbery, and then people were taking advantage of the lack of border posts. We found smuggling, a lot of smuggling across the country, and we found people were also accusing officials of extortion. And then there were parts where the officials could not differentiate between Ghanaians and non-Ghanaians. That made their work a bit difficult. So yeah, a lot of these, and we don't really have time to go on and on.
Of course.
A lot of these we found.
But I understand it was such a warm reception that the Interior Minister gave you. But did he say what exactly would be done about the scary situation that was reviewed in the Porous Border series?
Well, even as we were running the series, there were a couple of trips that he himself, the Interior Minister, took, as well as the boss of the Immigration Service, Mr. Eswatechi. They went, whilst we were running this series, they were also out there ascertaining for themselves what the problem itself was. We're told that several vehicles have been procured for some of these borders or border officials. We're also told that some motorbikes have been provided for them, especially for those who are in areas that's very difficult to maneuver with vehicles. We're also told that they're being armed, and we're yet to get on the ground, to find out whether these interventions are actually solving the problems that we highlighted. There are also others that he said they'll inform us later because it's work in progress.
And I know your desk will definitely go back on the ground.
Our desk,
yes, of course. We'll go back to verify the claims there. We'll take a quick break here on the Midday News. When we return, remunerate heads of state-owned enterprises based on their competence and respective contributions to economic development.
The CEOs who are paid so much, they have to be remunerated based on their competence. And I hope that the mandate of SIDA, which was launched a few months ago, I'm hoping they will turn things around.
More on the controversial proposal coming from economic think tank ISE, and later in the bulletin, publicity stunt or real friction. Uber driver hitmaker Wendy Shea speaks about relationship with label mate Fontana after Tess Instagram message.
She's part of the Rough Town family. She is on the record label as well.
What relationship do you have with her now?
We're still cool. We're very fine. When we have to, talk, we talk. When we have to see each other, we do. She knows I'm there for her.
Was established in 1972 as the premier bank for the corporate and private sector in Ghana. From our very beginning, as the only Ghanaian bank serving all categories of businesses, we set a standard for excellence and innovation over the past 45 years. We've built a financially healthy and strong bank, demonstrated our commitment to our customers and to growing businesses, and exhibited originality and innovation at every turn. At UMB, our focus is built around people, service, products and technology. These are the key to our present success and our future triumphs. At UMB, we're poised to make a difference not only with our customers, but also in the banking industry. We invite you to share in our future. Our future starts now with you.
Thanks for staying with us here on the Midday News. You know Fontana. Okay, what's in sports?
Well, Ghana FA President Keto Kuku says he has a fair idea of the challenges facing Ghana football and is very hopeful of doing a good job with the new executive council. Now, in his first day at work, he visited the Black Meteors team who are preparing for next month's CAF Under-23 Nations Cup in Egypt, and also met the staff of the Ghana Football Association. He's already looking at leaving a legacy.
First of all, this has given me an amazing opportunity to travel everywhere in this country. I went to Yendi for the first time because of the campaign. I went to Paga to see the crocodiles for the first time. I've traveled almost everywhere, and I have a clear idea as to the challenges facing our industry, what exactly we need to do, what our advantages are. And I believe that together with my colleagues on the executive committee and the efficient secretariat that we intend to put together, not only at the national level but also across the regional capitals, regional level, we will be able to do a decent job. I want to leave a legacy. Okay, so do my other colleagues on the executive committee, and I think that together we will build a team that people will love to be part of.
So that's Ghana FA President Keto Kuku. Well, tonight's Carabao Cup games, and of course the top liner is at the Etihad Stadium, where Manchester City, defending champions, will take on Southampton, and that's one of many matches that will be played. Burton Albion are up against informed Leicester City, Crawley Town, Colchester, and then we'll have Everton. They will come up against Watford, with Oxford United coming up against Sunderland. That's your sports.
I'll tell you later about Fontana, because you
Please
obviously
do.
don't know about her. But heads of state-owned enterprises must be remunerated based on their competence and respective contributions to economic development. This is contained in the recently launched State of the Ghanaian Economy report that shows that Ghana is not getting value for money from the various state-owned enterprises in the country, with high government expenditure and the looming threat of debt to GDP becoming unsustainable. Director of the Institute of Statistical, Social and Economic Research, ISE, Professor Peter Korte, argues it has become crucial for government to trim its budget and strictly cut off non-performing public officials.
Revenue shortfalls have led us to borrow to finance capital expenditure, and we find our debt to GDP inching closely to 60%, becoming very unsustainable. There is a need to improve non-tax revenue, including revenue from state-owned enterprises, property taxes, and then state-owned enterprises themselves, the CEOs who are paid so much, they have to be remunerated based on their competence. And I hope that the mandate of SIDA, State Interest and Governance Authority, which was launched a few months ago, this is their mandate. I'm hoping they will turn things around so that they become a source of revenue for government.
Now, the incidence of strokes among young people is increasing while deaths from the condition is rising. That's according to health experts in the country. As Ghana joins the rest of the world to mark Stroke Awareness Day today, my colleague Komla Adum has been speaking to occupational and musculoskeletal therapist Kafui Badiga, who has been offering basic ideas to help stroke patients.
If one side of the face is drooping or if the mouth has shifted to one side, then you know that, okay, maybe the person has had a stroke. So the person has weakness in one hand, sometimes there's weakness in one leg. If the person was talking normally before, now all of a sudden the speech is slurred, you can barely hear what they are saying. Once you notice either of these things, it's time to get the person to the hospital.
Neurologist at the stroke unit of the Kolebu Teaching Hospital, Dr. David Brodimens, highlighting most commonly exhibited features of a medical emergency. 51-year-old Johnson Deity, who was struck by stroke in January this year, lost some of his primary senses.
I was told that I was a dead person. Also in the stroke unit, when they saw the CT scan, they saw a problem that had in the brain where the blood clot is. And this is called the hemorrhagic hypertension, which is complete stroke. My family were told that it is a 50-50 affair because I could not walk, I could not do anything. I have to be bathed. I was put on Pampers.
But today, he walks and works again. With the help of physiotherapists and other occupational therapists, he no longer requires walking frames.
I'm not supposed to walk briskly, and I'm not supposed to walk for a long distance because of my lumbar spine. My doctor told me don't walk more than 50 meters.
Some patients are unable to recover completely from the disability, but occupational and musculoskeletal therapist Kafui Badiga says all hope is not lost.
To help the person must start writing like a child with a chalk first, and even how to be able to get them to talk better. So even at times we recommend that they have gums that they even chew so that can loosen the tongue a bit. Even something as simple as blowing a balloon. You see, when you're blowing a balloon, the whole place will have to expand, tighten and relax.
In the face of frightening cases of incidents of stroke among young people today, health experts are advising people to keep healthy lifestyles.
The risks are your high blood pressure, if you have high sugar diabetes, or if you have high cholesterol levels. So you need to go to a hospital and be screened. Take more fruits, more vegetables, and then exercise.
It's time to take your health more seriously. Now, defeated GFA presidential candidate Amanda Clinton has blamed the failure of delegates to consider future of football in Ghana for her inability to secure a single vote. The private legal practitioner got 0 votes in the GFA election held last week Friday that saw Keto Kweku emerge victorious. She's been telling Joy News' Kojo Yankson that the results shocked her.
In fairness, I don't think a lot of delegates were thinking of a long-term strategy for the survival of the GFA, which I think would have definitely come about with a female FA president that could bring in more money just by virtue of the attention and the spotlight that will be on Ghana. And furthermore, reputation-wise, I could help build that brand.
And the full interview airs at 3 p.m. on The Pulse with Gifty Ando-Apia on the Joy News channel on Multi TV, also on all our social media platforms. You can watch that interview. Now, they were good label mates, at least that's what fans of Wendy Shea and Fantana believed until now. For many, the signs of a strained relationship were clear after the Uber driver headmaker reportedly snubbed her record mate at an event. But it's Rough Town boss Bullet's post that has triggered an Instagram outburst aimed at Wendy Shea and their boss. Well, she's been opening up to Mama V. Oswabuaji on Cosmopolitan Mix on Joy.
She's part of the Rough Town family. She is, of course, on the record label as well.
What relationship do you have with her now?
For me, we're still cool. We're very fine. I mean, we don't see each other every day because everybody's doing her thing. But when we have to, talk, we talk. When we have to see each other, we do.
Oh, so you guys are not just, I see you in the studio, hey, hi, kind of friends. You go beyond that.
She texts me when she has to.
Okay.
When she has a question, she knows I'm there for her. And I know that when I need something, I can just chat her, call her. Yeah, that's the kind of relationship we have.
That's Wendy Shea speaking to my viewers who are on Cosmopolitan Mix. I'm here to hear Fantana. I really don't know who she is. I beg your pardon. But who
girls hate on girls, girls, girls hate on.
Girls, well, that's a song.
Okay. What's trending on social media?
All right, trending on number 1 is hashtag Accra floods, and at the Don GH says every single year we come here and tweet hashtag Accra floods, but we are still dumping refuse basa basa. Every day we blame politicians, but I'm not sure it's Asian Ketia or Sir John who choked our gutters. And at 1957_Rick says Ministry of Sanitation's name should be changed to Ministry of Bola and choked gutters, as to remind them of what their actual responsibilities are. Hashtag Accra floods. And the last one from at F Koku, who says this is a sad cycle. Truth is, nothing has changed, nothing has been learned. Hashtag Accra floods.
And it's a good time to join hashtag Joy Clean Ghana. We need to clean Ghana, and the time is now. And that's it for the midday news here on Joy 99.7 FM. There's more news, of course, when you log on to myjoyonline.com. Living Word with Pastor Mensa Otabil is up next. I am Memefa Apau.
It's been a